Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Tips and Tricks webinar. Today's topic, as you can see, is what can Copilot do for you? Please use the Q&A chat if, oh, somebody talk? Oh. Please use the Q&A chat if you have any questions during the webinar. We'll make sure we answer those. Our presenters today is an SE, JP Chan, and a security architect, Tyler Roser. JP, Tyler, what do you guys have for us today?
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time today. So let's dive right in. So what is Infinity AI Copilot, right? It is basically your personal Gen AI security assistant. It is supported across all of Checkpoint's products. You know, it accelerates administration time of managing tasks up to about 90% of what we're able to measure. It increases effectiveness of your current tools, as well as improve incident mitigation and response time when you are investigating things. So, how does it work, right? You know, the way that it works is by a unified architecture. We provided a unified set of tools for every Checkpoint product to implement their own AI copilot per their own use case. As you can see at the top, all of Checkpoint's products forward their queries into the unified Copilot architecture. First, it goes through the AI firewall, which protects our architecture from any vulnerability of LLM like prompt injection or poisoning of data. Then we classify the question that's been asked by the administrator, whether it's related to policies, logs, documents, or SKs. Later on, we'll show you guys some demo with these use cases that I'm talking about. But for now, just stick to the slide. So what we've done is partnered up with Microsoft OpenAI. We did this to maintain complete privacy, meaning we don't share any logs to OpenAI framework. We only send raw data. Of course, none of the data is kept in OpenAI. It is not used for any future training of their LLM. And pretty much Checkpoint partnered with OpenAI to be able to put data into readable format. Copilot pretty much empowers admins by enabling them to perform rapid policy updates, fine-tuning of security controls, speedy trouble ticket resolution, and more. And then for security analysts, it simplifies the work of SecOps through AI-guided incident response, large-scale threat hunting, automated writing and running of playbooks and other tasks. So eventually, the outcome is that every product gets the opportunity to implement their own use cases. So if you're a network admin, then you'd probably ask about policies. If you're a security operations analyst, you'd probably ask about posture, or if you're protected against certain CVEs. An endpoint security manager would probably then ask about the status of their environment and so on. So Copilot is available in SmartOne Cloud and in the Infinity XDR XPR. These are the QR codes that you could scan if you'd like to join the preview program. So what I'm going to do is just take a few seconds, allow everybody to scan it. If you're interested, please do so. Right. And later on, you guys are going to receive the slide, so you could always rescan it there as well. All right, in this slide, you'll see the timeline for the roadmap for each of Checkpoint's products. As I mentioned in the previous slide, SmartOne Cloud and XPR EA is now available. As far as Endpoint, Mobile, CloudGuard, Playblocks, and Support Center, those will be coming in the next few months. Underneath the table are the GA dates. We do want to mention that these are the roadmap plan. So, pretty much anything can change, right? But this is what we plan to introduce Copilot capabilities across our products. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it off to my friend, Tyler. Tyler, take it away.
All right. Thanks, JP. All right. JP, I'm going to ask you, since you can talk, can you see my screen?
We got it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. So as JP mentioned, Infinity Copilot is going to be a way to provide greater efficiency and essentially put automation in your own hands with the ability to verify IPS patches against the latest CVEs, simplify threat hunting, and search across policies to update the correct one. To begin with, we're actually going to go with, I'm going to describe the fact that, Infinity AI Copilot is actually contextually aware. So we can see that I popped it up here. This is where we be represented your screen, pulls up a chat bot to you. And I'm actually going to go with one of these first options here. So if we think about maybe someone coming new into an environment who doesn't have any understanding of what the gateways are or how large the environment is, can you show me, what are the configured gateways already within my environment? So Copilot's going to go ahead and review the created objects within my database, and it's going to provide me with just some nice information about them. While that's processing the information, some of the things I'm going to show, so we're going to start with some informative information that Copilot can give you. It also can be helpful in teaching support, as well as maybe mentoring. As I mentioned, it's context aware. So in the event of, say, threat hunting, when we look at XDR in a little bit, it's going to be able to maybe ask some preemptive questions that are going to help to further investigate a security incident that maybe a junior analyst wouldn't necessarily understand, or maybe something you hadn't thought of yourself. So one of the things that we'll notice here is that we've actually created links to these different gateways. And one of the things that we can do is that these are going to be clickable. As I am in a Smart One Cloud, this is not going to open as a editable object. Is going to be read only, but we can get some information about the gateway. Additionally, what we've done is that Copilot has created 2 radial buttons down here that I can actually get further details about the gateway object. So why is this interesting? Well, the details it's going to give me about the object. It's going to be able to tell me what type of gateway it is, what version it's running, what blades have been enabled on the device, whether SIC is communicating currently. Additionally, is some interface information regarding the IP address and any tunnels that have been created. So as you can see here, it's been created. We have SIC that's been initialized, but it is not currently communicating. Additionally, we can see that this gateway takes part with our play blocks. If I had selected the other gateway, we would see that that one actually participates in IoT Protect as well. But we can see here of the configured interfaces. We can see the blades that have been enabled, as well as the SIC name defined on the device. One of the next things I'm going to jump into is that how Copilot can actually help to teach you as well. So if we sit back and say, I want to start learning more about Checkpoint's API, if it's something I haven't played with before, show me the command to create this host with this IP address. Copilot has, as JP had mentioned, Copilot has access to all of our admin guides, our SKs, checkmates, as well as Checkpoint research. So it's going to be able to review all of these guides. And actually, this actually works out well. So currently right now, Copilot does not have write access to my environment. So while it does not have write access to my environment, it was able to provide me with the command necessary to create this leveraging the Checkpoint API. You will, in your environments, have the ability to use write within the API. Permissions are going to be assumed based on the roles that you have within your Smart One Cloud environment. I know it's probably going to be asked, but if we're in regards to on-premise environments, that will be supported and is something R&D is working on. You'll be leveraging the Infinity services to connect your on-prem environment to these Checkpoint Infinity portal. Now, so we're taking this example, great. It showed me how I can leverage with the API, but maybe I want to improve upon this command. Can Copilot show me how to add a list of IPs via the API with an example script of how I might be able to do this? So it's going to consult the knowledge base, maybe checkmates with some proper examples. And look, it's going to be able to give me a nice example script that I can copy and manipulate to my own likings. It also makes sure that I reference, the service identifier and connection tokens that I'm going to need to identify to be able to get this to work. Additionally, we've also created a link to the management API that if I have additional questions, I can reference as well. One of the things I'm going to dive into next is that we can show how maybe you can optimize your policy. If we think about it, a lot of us may come into environments that have been created by someone else, and we want to maybe do some cleanup. So can you show me duplicated hosts with the same IP address? I know a lot of times it's one of my previous jobs. I found more duplicate objects because someone didn't want to search potentially and just created a new one, maybe changed the color on it. Do we get warnings? Sometimes they get ignored, sure. But here's a way that I can review my policy, and it's going to look through all of my objects assigned within my database and tell me if I have any duplicates.
While you're waiting there, I'll ask a question. Can it look for like unused objects?
Yes, it could. Yep.
Right, yep.
As well as so you can do that based on hit count. Absolutely. So yeah, you can use it for a lot of different ways. You can leverage it for optimizing your policy.
Got it.
Bear in mind, we are in preview, so sometimes this does get hung up. I might just try and restart the chat in a minute if we do still continue with this issue. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it has identified that there are actually 2 hosts within my environment that have the same IP address. And when it finalizes it, it's going to create links for me that I'd be able to look at each one of these objects similar. Nope, didn't create a link for me this time. But it did give me some contextual options of how I'd like to resolve the issue. But in this case, I'm going to take the option of UDM, and we're going to say I'd like to get more information on this particular object itself. Why do I want to do this? Maybe I'd like to see if there are any tags that are associated to this object. Maybe I want to see if it belongs to any groups. Copilot is going to be able to review all of those pieces for me. This can be helpful if we look at, say, application access, and we have a specific rule in our policy that defines application access to Facebook. And we look to see which group may have access to Facebook, and we can define that. Maybe there's a certain keyword that we can look for that we're leveraging in our environment that we can look for. So we can see here it's come up with the UDM host object. We have the UID of the object. We have its IP address, whether there's any NAT settings to it. It does not belong to any groups. We can also see when the device was created, when it was last time it was modified, when the last time it was modified, as well as who created the object itself. We can also see the available actions that we can take upon the object. One of the next things I'm going to focus on next, let's transition over to maybe say from a reporting standpoint. So let's look at how we can leverage Copilot to create either smart event style reports or to review our logs to be able to give us information without necessarily having to know the proper query or syntax to it. So right now I'm going to ask it for the top 10 applications accessed over the past 7 days and how much data was transmitted during that time. And I'd like it to put it in a table format so it's easily digestible and readable. As you can see, that was a pretty quick response to review my logs for the past 7 days. We can see the top 7 applications. And it also created a nice bar graph for us based on bytes of these applications as well. One of the last things that I'm going to show within SmartOne Cloud is I'd like to look at this from a threat perspective. Can you show me, have there been any attacks against my network over the past 30 days? And this is the last question I'm going to ask SmartOne Cloud. We're going to jump over to XDR after we take a look at this answer, but we can see this broke this down into a nice table. We can see the product family that was associated with each one of these threats. We can see the severity of each one of these threats and the confidence level as defined by Threat Cloud. To dive deeper into the threat side, like I said, we're going to jump over to the XDR side. And to begin with on the XDR piece, I just want to remind everyone, XDR is a unified solution with response and prevention capabilities. Copilot allows us a way to normalize a threat hunting language because we know today's security incidents are really complex and require a certain level of expertise that needs to be maintained. So XDR already provides you with a simplified view of everything. Copilot allows you an even more simplified way to operate and investigate different incidents. So first, I'm actually going to open up we're going to look at this incident here. So this was a prevented incident by XDR, but I want to get some additional information. So using the example of a junior engineer who came in to review an incident who maybe doesn't have as much experience with threat hunting itself. So I'm going to open up Copilot and we're going to start a new chat. And what I'd like to do is I would like to ask it, can you give me a summary of this incident and split it into the various stages of the attack into a table form to make just very easily readable and understand what happened. We can see here, Copilot did provide a nice, descriptive summary, but I want it in maybe a little bit more of a readable form that makes it easier just to process and digest. What's important about this is that it's a very easy and concise way to understand what happened. And from here, we can also dive in even further. So we can see that there is pre-infection status here based on descriptions. We note that the connections itself were blocked, and we can see the severity and confidence level of each of these connections. What we can do to dive in further is that we can say, what were the key IOCs that were identified based on this incident? In this case, as I mentioned, they were blocked. In the case maybe that there was something that was not blocked, we could take the IOCs that were identified and utilize XDR to enable these IOCs to make sure they are prevented in the future. So as we can see here, it was actually able to tell me the internal host that was the victim of these alerts as well. Here's another way we can use XDR to actually interact with checkpoint research. In the wild, globally, have we seen any other attacks like this similar to this incident? And what was the outcome of that? So as we had talked about with the hook into checkpoint research, we're going to be able to see where we may have seen these things in real life incidents and what the impact of that was with links to some of these articles. And it's going to pull up the checkpoint research article associated to that specific attack. And lastly, I think probably one of the most important things is that if this in the case was actually a detected attack or could have been prevented sooner, but what should I do to be protected against such attacks? And XDR is going to be able to tell me there are what things I can do that can better protect myself, or if there are IOCs that need to be enabled. So we can see here, so we need to review the incident for further information, see if there's any mapping to the MITRE attack framework. If there's any IOCs that need to be prevented, make sure I investigate that. And it gives me a nice breakdown of all the things that need to be identified through this incident to future-proof my environment. Now I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to move actually over to the endpoint side and speak about how Copilot can help you with Harmony Endpoint. Awesome. Okay. So starting with simming on the threat vector, as we were with XDR, I'd like it to show me the latest attack. And once it shows me the latest attack on my network, I'm going to ask for some more information about this. So this is going to be a great way to help you do threat hunting without necessarily having to come up with the natural language or correct radial buttons within our threat hunting to understand this. It's going to map it all out for me and tell me exactly when the last attack happened. And as I mentioned, I'm going to ask for further information about this attack. So my hope is that it's going to be able to tell me additional information, maybe about the endpoint or anything else I may need to look into within my environment. If it doesn't, like I said, we're going to say, okay, tell me more. Can you tell me what machine was impacted by this? And then we're going to be able to look at, are there any more communications that need to be associated or that are associated with this endpoint host that I need to review? Awesome. Okay, well, we can see that it was on a Mac device, but I would like to ask Copilot, which machines were attacked? Again, this is going to review all of the logs within my Harmony Endpoint environment and tell me which machine was attacked. We can see here, it was my MacBook Pro. And from here, I could ask further questions if I so choose. From a more of a informational side, we can say, instead of going to look for the correct documentation, maybe if I have a question, we could simplify, hey, what are the latest recommended releases for Windows and Mac? It's going to review our latest SKs, and it's going to be able to tell me what the latest and greatest recommended version is for each version and provide me links for each. Lastly, the last thing I'm going to touch upon, we understand that there are some of our customers who have air-gapped environments or maybe do not leverage the cloud in any sort of fashion, whether that's regulations or choice. But there is still ways that we can interact with our Infinity Copilot, and that's going to be through our support center. I think we've all run into issues before when we're troubleshooting, and maybe it takes 1 or 2 SKs to be able to resolve an issue. Well, here's a way that we can leverage Copilot to say, okay, here's my actual issue, and it's going to be able to present me with maybe 1 or 2 SKs to look at, potentially some admin guides for best practices and how to configure that. But if we go with something I think all of us have to deal with at one point or another, or are planning to do it soon, or hopefully are going to be doing soon, is how do I enable HTTPS inspection? There's a lot of different caveats to this. You need to make sure that you have the correct bypasses in place. You set up a nice test environment to make sure that you're not going to impact any of your other traffic, and make sure this is all done correctly. Copilot is going to be able to give me some nice steps on how I can get this configured, as well as multiple SKs that may be relevant for this issue. If I want to be able to clear, the threat emulation cache on a gateway, this is additionally something I can ask. But Copilot's going to be able to give me not only, say, the command to clear that cache in that example, but also the guides if you need to debug it or take any further action. That is, my presentation today with JP as far as how Copilot can help you. Rob, any questions?
We do. First
right.
one is, we are a FedRAMP GCC High shop. Since we are sending these natural language queries to Microsoft, is this AI Copilot feature GCC High certified?
I would need to check on that. I am not sure off the top of my head.
I was actually trying to look into that, Rob, and that's a great question. That's something that we'll have to get back to the
I will
attendee with.
jot that down, and let me just grab this person's name so I make sure I got it.
I actually answered one of the questions about support with different languages in the chat, Rob. So that one's good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yes. And just if anyone's not looking, yes, we do support multiple languages through Copilot natively already.
Yep. How about AI Copilot? Hold on a second. Customers. I think there's a typo here. I'm trying to figure this one out, David. AI Copilot is available to customers whether they don't have quantum security management, only have Harmony email collaboration,
Okay.
or Harmony Endpoint.
I understand. So the we're going to call it, the piping is there for the Harmony email and collaboration. It is up to that R&D team to essentially tie Copilot in. So yes, I do believe it's going to be available. I don't have a date yet for that. It is currently in EA for Harmony Endpoint. That was that was at the beginning. So yes, I believe I've answered that at this point. So we should be good there.
Okay, will this be available for on-premise management servers?
Yes, it will.
Yep, later on a year. Yep.
Yep. Is the page you're currently showing, support.checkpoint.com, AI enabled for registered users? Can people see that themselves in Support Center?
I believe we just need to work with our local account teams, and we can get that enabled for you. I need to check on that piece for the support side.
Okay. Let's see here. There was an issue yesterday where Antibot was blocking Fastly. Does Copilot aggregate this data to help us identify this is happening across multiple customers? I don't.
So yes, Copilot could be leveraged if we're talking from an MSSP standpoint. Yes, you could look, I guess, across logs to leverage that if you were leveraging Smart One Cloud to review logs. That's one of the main purposes of it. I'm not sure I understand the whole question.
Yeah, and that person asked anonymously. If you want to add again, or send me an email later, and we can talk about it offline also.
Yep.
Let's see here. When AI Copilot is released, will it require additional licensing, or will it be free?
So the EA will be free, but no, there will be a licensing that comes associated to each individual product. That will be released upon the GA or shortly beforehand as far as what that cost is going to be. My understanding now is it's going to be based on an allotment of questions over a time period, but I don't have any more details based on that.
Okay, yeah, still EA, so still figuring that part out. We'll let you guys know. Last one, I think, not last one. How can I use Infinity Copilot in the support center? Do you mean the page we're showing here, Brandon, or?
Yeah, that would be my guess. Yeah, let me take that back. I believe we should be able to reach out to your local support team and get that enabled, but let me double check on that. And we'll add that as part of the follow-up that we send out, Rob.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we answered this one. Will AI Copilot be available on on-prem Smart One console? The answer is yes.
Yes,
right?
it will.
Yes. Yep. Yes, it will.
Yep.
Okay. I think that covers it. Anything else or clarification? Please type it in the chat quickly. I think we're good. I'm going to copy all these questions because they always disappear on the end.
Definitely some good ones in there, Rob, that we can get back to the audience with.
Absolutely. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you guys. Great information, great questions. Let me see here. We'll send a follow-up email, like we said, with the reference content and the recording link. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks. You'll see the invitation for that soon. But that will let you go. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you here next time. Tyler, JP, thanks again. Everyone, enjoy.
Yes, sir. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.